Welcome back to another edition of the Candid Culture Show. It is episode number 4, and we are getting real honest and candid about a whole bunch of black shit. All you black niggas, I know I don't even like using that word, but we're talking to black niggas on this episode. You already know that it's all three of us again, but we got another guest to our right. And if you don't know who this person is, you must be under a rock and you don't have Instagram, okay? Or YouTube. We have the legendary Adrian Xpression.
Woo! Hey, what's up? I'm ready. I'm here. The librarian is
so happy that you are here. Literally,
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us.
Literally one of the most original influencers, and I don't use influencers often. I don't use that term often because everybody use it too much.
I feel real special now.
But you are an influencer. So listen, we getting ready to dive into this topic. While we get ready to talk, make sure that you engage with us in the comments, all right? Damn it.
Click that like button.
Hell yeah. And you better subscribe to this shit too.
What you waiting on?
Because y'all pissing me off. Give me a coin too. Shit. Y'all want to talk about reparations? Give me a fucking reparation. Shit. Okay. But listen, so what I want to go over a little bit. I don't like how I'm talking about this right now, but I don't like that.
Okay.
So we want to talk a little bit about collectivism and individualism, and this is something that you had brought to me that I really understood and I really accepted because again, we see a lot of cancel culture now, where we see it with R. Kelly, we see it in regards to the LGBT community, specifically around trans rights. We see it if you are a Republican or a Democrat. Don't you dare wear a red and white hat.
Comedians too.
Okay, comedians. We got Dave Chappelle,
Bill Burr,
Kevin Hart. You know, it was some months ago. Hell, and even influencers. Because you can say one thing that people don't like. Right? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've been victim.
Dalvin has been a victim.
I've been victim, guys.
Why?
I don't even want to discuss that. People think I'm a colorist.
You was the
Think
colorist.
I'm a colorist.
That's
Why?
what they
Why do they think
I'm a
Oh,
colorist?
Jesus. Tell them why they think you're a colorist.
They think I'm a colorist because I'm known to have a type for liking light skins, but I never degraded a brown skin.
They think I don't like black women. Some girls think I don't like black women.
That sounds very valid.
I'm automatically a colorist.
That sounds valid to you?
That sounds a little bit valid.
There's no validity.
The good part about me is I really don't give a fuck what people think.
I don't give a fuck either, so I feel you on that.
You know what I'm saying? So I know I'm not a colorist, but for their definition, I probably am, I guess. But I don't have a problem with brown skins.
Wait, but it's always the ones that you don't want that feel that way.
I think so.
It's always the ones that you don't want. The girls who I don't want, who just happen to be black, and they just don't happen to be attractive. They ugly as shit. I don't like that.
Oh, wait, that ain't got to be ugly as shit now.
See, we going to go on and on.
Because that's just tacky as hell.
To me.
That ain't got to be ugly as shit.
They are to me.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, damn it.
And
I guess
beauty ain't been held in my eyes.
Okay, well, shit. Well, you hell, in my opinion. Never mind, because I don't know how you going to end this.
Because now you have to argue with me about my perspective.
But listen, here's my thing, though. I really want to talk about this because, again, I don't understand, and I'm going to go to the black community. I don't understand why we feel as a community that if one person is harmed or offended by something, that automatically because your skin is black or brown, that we should all agree. There are several, and I'm going to give you an instance. There are several videos that I watch in regards to police stops.
Okay.
That half the time I'll be like, well, damn, the cop right, shit.
Most of the time,
when I watch a few of them, what confuses me is when the cop walk up to the car. Do you know why I stopped you? No, tell me. Can I have your ID? What you need my ID for?
Exactly.
Right there.
Am I free to go?
I have.
Look her.
Why am I not cooperating?
Like, you said, why you cooperating?
No, I'm saying why am I not? It's like
Exactly.
you're giving them a hard time for no reason.
Exactly.
And it forces them, like they probably don't have the right to be the way they are, but follow the rules and shit.
Keep it simple.
I might,
so much
look,
could be
I don't
avoided.
kiss ass, but I'm about to corroborate with this officer.
I think
you
you
know
know
my
what?
registration. Yes, sir.
I think
Yes,
that
sir.
I think
There
that
you
the
go.
level of kissing ass might be different for different people.
Okay.
Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah.
So what you might consider kissing ass, somebody else might might not, or vice versa. And then so when you look at it, you're like, oh, why didn't you just follow the rules? They might have thought that what they were doing was, or that following the rules shit might have been their version of kissing ass.
A cop asked me what my tattoos meant before. I swear.
I would be like, for
And
what?
He asked
why
me
do you
what
want-
he asked me was I in the gang.
That's what I'm saying.
I have
like, what
literally
are you
no
implying?
gang
Like,
related tattoo.
Well, see, those situations, again, where there is some sort of implicit bias or there's some sort of racism, because, again, as black...
Implicit bias is disputable.
And that's what I'm saying. The
as
thresholds is
black
different.
people, we all...
But I answered it, though. Am I wrong for answering that? Like,
No,
because
no,
you
no,
don't have the
no,
right
you're
to
not.
ask. You pulled me over for running the stop sign.
That's what I was saying. So like, why do
know
you
what
need
I'm
to know
saying?
about my tattoos?
You know.
What the fuck you running the stop sign for?
But
really
at
didn't.
the
Wait,
same
was like,
time-
wait,
I didn't even.
at the same time.
So I was probably trying to hit you or something.
At the
I
same
don't know.
time, though, this is the thing. I use this example. Y'all seen The Longest Yard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember when Nelly was in the library and the security guards was antagonizing him and they was trying to get him, they was calling him nigger and they was trying to get him to hit him and all kinds
Right,
of like,
right.
you about to hit, you like to hit us, wouldn't you? He was like, nah, y'all my friends. And they left him alone.
was perfect.
Sometimes that's it, if the cops who are racist or who have a certain agenda towards black people, that's how they want to do it. They want to give you a reason. So any level, any defiance,
They looking
you know what I'm
for it.
saying?
I believe
they
that
looking
because
for
they.
it. So by him answering the question, it's like, yeah, I ain't got no issue
Exactly.
with you. I answer the
Yeah,
question,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then they like, ah, we
Can I
can't
search
get
your
this one.
car? Yeah, you can search my
Car
car.
ain't
But
Even
I'm
though
saying
you don't even
sometimes-
have the right to, probably.
Yeah, but I'm
But
saying
you're not
sometimes,
gonna find it.
especially if they don't have the right to, sometimes
But they
niggas
do.
get
They
tired of doing that shit all
probable
the
cause
time.
is the right. I mean, my uncle's a judge, so I
They
we
do
had
have
his-
the right.
yeah,
But
probable
wait,
cause.
but I'm now you correct me. Nah, I'm not a lawyer, but I thought in order to establish probable cause, excuse me, don't you have to communicate what that probable cause is? While you're when I tell you I'm stopping you because
They
isn't
can
that
tell you
stating your probable
they have
cause?
they have reason to believe, but they don't have to like they don't need a warrant. They don't they can just if they have any reason like if they smell weed,
Right.
they can just search.
But see, but here's my thing. I have an issue with that in regards to, and I know we're going off the topic for a second, but I got an issue when people tell me, "Oh, I smell weed in the car." My thought process is, well, look, you outside. There may be somebody outside rolling some trees outside. You gonna blame me? I don't want my lips to get black, damn it. So I'm not even smoking weed. So I've been asked that question before, and I was like, Dalvin, I've answered that question because I do not smoke marijuana, but I support people who do. But for me, I just feel like some of the explanations or probable cause that they provide to mainly African Americans, but in particular, as we all know, African American males.
Yes.
It's very, to me, based off of biases that they already perceive about African Americans.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? It's
It
like,
is.
gangbanger. What's those tattoos?
Well,
what about weed?
Where those biases? Where do they originate from?
From our community, sometimes.
You answer.
Oh, you want to drop mic?
I might.
But hold on, wait.
I think
Because I feel like I knew Adrian was gonna come.
I think it's kind of incomplete. You know what I mean? It's of course some of them come from our community, but the way that, for example, like how the opioid is an opioid epidemic, and it's how they treated crack in the black community. So there are issues within every single community.
It's not fair.
It's just how is it treated?
How is it magnified?
How is it, and then how is
I
we
see it this way.
disproportionately searching niggas in the hood when you
I
need
see-
to be
I
going to
see it
Wall
this-
Street
I
when they
see it
snorting
this way.
coke off a desk?
Right.
I see it this way. Disproportions, they come from disparities. Disproportions, they come from the origins of the act itself. So like if black people are only 13% of the population, yet we commit 52% of the violent crime, then you're going to naturally expect black people to be the main culprits when violent crime is committed. So it's almost
I
like
think that has a lot to do
No,
also
it
with
doesn't
police.
make it right, but it's just it's
yeah,
like
it's
like,
you learn. It's learning. It's essentially learning.
it's-
it's learning what goes with what.
like it shouldn't be surprising that I'm a cool dude because I'm like If I come around a group of white people and I come off as polite,
yeah, we're not saying it's right or wrong, but we're saying that's why it happens, though. That's what's going on psychologically.
It's perception, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It is perception,
exactly.
but I think we should change. I think it should be changed. I think the perception should be changed.
When you say that we are innocent until proven guilty,
you should stand by.
Don't just come up to me because based off of statistics,
absolutely
right?
Agree.
Yeah.
You probably fit the bill. That's something that we hear too. You match the description of someone that we're looking for.
Right.
Who the fuck is that? Black.
Right. Do you think that the perceptions will ever change though?
I think that shit will. It will just be very slow, like it has been, like it's been proven to be.
So too.
You know, I think, but being silent or accepting it or just being afraid to say something because we'll be the niggas complaining again. We have to keep talking about it.
I think it depends on the person. I mean, I think it's who people are.
And that's why I said individualism is better than collectivism, and that's a perfect example because collectively, if that's the case, then police see black people or white people and for example, see black people, they hold us to a certain narrative and they have certain expectations placed on us. But yet it comes down to the individual, and that's why I stress it's individualism first and collectivism.
You're right.
Secondary.
You can stress it, but the reality is that, which is what you just said, is that they look at all of us at a certain way, in a certain way. So I think because of that, we all have to. We have to come together on certain things. Yeah. So like we want individualism, but I think a lot of times we're forced into collectivism because of how society looks.
Well, I think it's more of a mentality, and it's malleable. Like I think it just depends on the circumstance and the situation.
Absolutely.
Like you hold individuals to certain standards, and then on certain issues
you look at the whole group.
You look at the whole group.
So what about in the case of reparations then? Because we know that that's a huge conversation currently right now. And again, it's this thing now if we look at the 2020 Democratic debates, things of that nature, if y'all into that type of thing, the main thing for a few months that they were talking about was reparations.
For
a few months they were talking about it, and then a lot of people were so for reparations, and then people began to back off reparations and try to change what they were requesting.
Not to cut you off, but can you explain for my audience that don't know what it is exactly? Can you explain what?
I want money for all the shit that you put me through as a fucking slave, and all the disproportionate stuff that you did to me. So I'm just playing.
So we talking about the people that actually weren't slaves?
Exactly.
I know we have to educate people. So so reparations is basically a form of. I want to call it almost forgiveness, if you will, or a form of repayment for the years of discrimination, the years of free labor, as well as inequality, right? Yes. So when you think about the housing market, when you think about the 1930s in Chicago, where they were starting to redline things of that nature, and they were purposely causing African Americans to pay more for their mortgages, and by doing so, it was almost like they never had the opportunity to pay off their home.
Exactly, and the main ways that American families build wealth in this country is through their homes, through buying homes. So
through property.
Yeah.
So it's various different things, and so different organizations have kind of sprouted up in regards to reparations. Some people are monetary. Some people are in the form of, create development or programs that are specifically for us. You have some people who are kind of on the Black Pantherish Marcus Garvey thing of, fuck y'all, just do what the fuck we tell y'all to do. We're going to give y'all 10 page paper. Do this or we out of this bitch. So you have different forms of reparations. So in regards to, like we talked about collectivism and individualism, I want to know where we all stand in regards to reparations. In regards to that conversation, are we entitled as African Americans to reparations? If so, what does that look like in your opinion?
You want me to?
Go ahead.
I think absolutely.
Okay.
Like, I think we are. I think we have to be very strategic about what that looks like.
Okay.
Because the reason why I think we are is because the wealth that has been built off of free labor, cheap labor, discrimination, keeping us out of circles, keeping us out of economics, the wealth that has been built off of that, they've passed it down, and they continue to build off of it, while the wealth and income gaps between black and white families are continuing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so wide. So yes, we are, especially if we've been what the country has been built the wealth off of.
Absolutely.
So, but it needs to be strategic. You can't just throw a bunch of cash. I
agree.
I mean, I think that could be part of it, but I don't think that should be the only thing.
Well, I think you made a valid point, but for me, you mentioned the strategy behind it. I think we had to be a lot more precise and concise about what reparations are and how we implement them if we're going to have reparations. Because for me personally, the way I see it is I'm not fully behind it simply because of the fact there's a lot of unanswered questions. There's blacks in America who aren't direct descendants of slaves. And then you have the fact that the average black American has 25% European in his bloodline. So then that goes into the fact that that goes into me thinking as, okay, we know some slave masters, they raped the women, they had kids with them. Mm-hmm. Those kids, offspring of slave masters, were often freed. So at what point were they free? Or you know what I'm saying? I have to determine, and then I have a problem with monetizing emotional trauma. Like you can't give me a check for the amount of emotional trauma.
Totals to.
Yes, but a check for that much?
Yeah. So in regards to, if you count all of the African Americans that are in the United States, mm-hmm. it's up to a certain large number. It's in the trillions.
It's really trillions of dollars. There's so
there's no way they.
And do we account for the ones who make poor decisions and the ones who will utilize it like?
But see,
no. That's a whole separate. Yeah. We talking about
who
qualifies for the reparations and on what grounds?
If as a group we are affected by something systematically, as a group it needs to be fixed as a whole. Period. That's what I think.
Now here's my thing, and so I typically don't tell people who I vote for, but I am going to tell people who I'm going to vote for 2020. Mm-hmm. So my boy is Andrew Yang. I'm just going to throw that out there. Only because to me he has the most comprehensive plan in regards to, again, addressing reparations, but also making sure that he has no pushback. And what I mean by that is, as we all know, if reparations would be truly taken serious, the amount of filibustering, the amount of games that Congress, that the Senate would play in regards to actually pushing that legislation through, and also making sure that language inside of that it's not present. Also, and I feel like it will be like short-lived. I feel like Andrew Yang has committed to saying that, look, how about we give $1,000 to everybody? Mm-hmm. Okay? And I understand, well, black people, we was affected, but listen, I feel like at the end of the day, I feel like if we start with small wins, and if we take on the almost black nationalist approach, where we make sure that with this $1,000 that we are intentionally investing in our communities. That means that in my opinion, I'm being serious.
I respect your opinion,
I feel like if we intentionally invest in our communities, then that makes sure that, again, we have a valid seat at the table, so that when we then have reparation conversations again, and when we're asking now for reparations, it changes from a monetary value to now we're asking for, hey, we need land. Why? Because I'm showing you that I can invest and I can build on what I have. So that's just me.
Well, go ahead.
I understand what you're saying. To me, what reparations looks like is looking at how, like you brought up redlining, looking at how those policies affected our community and undoing them, or giving us an advantage in certain places in certain economies.
But would that be like affirmative action?
Yes. Okay. It's essentially yes. Yeah. That's the idea that I have for it. Instead of like throwing cash at people, in my opinion, I think target a specific, if it's minorities, you talking about black people, target our student loans, target our debt, target the things that systematically have kept us, repeating cycles of poverty in certain areas. Undo that. I think that would be one of the most strongest ways. If you're talking about reparations, imagine what people without student loan debt, or people without, debt, period, how that would change their lives.
But then you want to question in regards to...
I think it sounds good in theory, but I think it may play out differently in reality.
It always does.
Based on people's personal choices and how they choose what they choose to do.
2020.
All three of you guys make good points. It's like, so if I had to choose, it'd be like, I'm not for it necessarily, because I'm used to working for everything I had.
Right.
I like the point, I think you brought it up, Q, that Hold on, I'm having a brain fart.
You
But
fine.
you basically saying how you can't repay, like, for the damage. Almost like, oh, okay, I did all these things to you here. Like, I beat my girlfriend. All right, here, $1,000, go shop.
Yeah.
Well,
and I
like
see
you
it, and I
did.
see it, and I
Like,
currently see it in the form of, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm a realist when it comes to that. We could never have, I mean, it's just human nature. We could never have equal outcome, but equal opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm
for sure.
I'm all for the positions and the wealth that other racial groups have accumulated over the years. I'm all for the opportunity to be able to accumulate that myself. And then when you look at Asians is doing better than whites.
Oh,
Like,
Jesus. Okay, sorry, I want to jump in here. So, you said that we can't basically make up for the trauma or the hurt that you felt. Is that what you're saying?
We didn't feel
yeah,
anything.
Yeah, we didn't personally feel
I mean, we do
anything.
still deal with
and I know it
certain
sounds
correct me if
harsh,
I'm
but
wrong.
I can't.
So, Holocaust survivors?
Okay.
Even
Japanese
Japanese, they got
Americans?
$20,000.
They did.
Everyone who was in.
Indians? No,
I didn't-
excuse me, Native
I'm
Americans?
just
excuse me?
learning this.
Yeah.
But again, it's been done before. So my question is, when you want to, because it sounds to me that they were like, well, that population was smaller than your population.
That's bullshit.
Now let me just go ahead and be honest. The reason why our population is so damn big is because them nasty ass people kept fucking our women. So that's probably hey. So they contributed to the shit. If you want to ask me, if it's too many of us, but I digress. But
we did go from like 800,
right,
like 300, 400,000 to like 4.4 million.
And so you instituted a source of behavior, and you instituted a source of horniness in our damn community, and then you want to judge us when we start fucking around like rabbits. You fucked us first. That's how I feel. But anyways.
Humans like to fuck in general.
But I'm just saying, you in regards to what y'all are saying, I don't think that that's a plausible thing to say, that we cannot do anything or we can't repay that. I don't think.
I definitely wouldn't be against it because I know. I mean,
who
I
wouldn't
know
want
how.
to?
You feel me? I'm definitely not
You
against
feel me?
it.
Who wouldn't want to
Give me what you
check?
got. Give me a thou.
But
I'm good.
my whole point is, as strongly as a lot of Black Americans feel about it, it's just like. It's like heartbreaking. It's heartbreak. So if that's the case, then I might as well pay off the girl that I broke her heart and we good.
But again, it goes back to collectivism because people talk about reparations, and my thing is they're in a whole totally different tax bracket. They making money already, and what I mean by that is the main people that we hear talking about reparations, things of that nature. 9 out of 10, they're coming from a place of influence or they're a celebrity. And my thought process behind that is, I feel that I ain't gonna say that. Go ahead.
No, say it. No, say it. Go ahead, say it.
Because I just don't understand when celebrities talk about income inequality,
like they experience.
like they're experiencing
Well,
it
it's
with
good
us.
to have a voice that is powerful and loud.
No. But
I want it to be
I get
correct.
that. I get
Well,
that.
as long as
I want the voice to be correct.
But it's good just because someone is not struggling. There are people who struggle with income.
No. I'm not saying
You know what I
struggling.
mean?
That's not what. No. I'm not asking you to struggle. That's not what I'm saying.
No. I know
However,
that.
I want you to, when you stand up and you recognize yourself as an activist, as a political pundit who wants to talk about the woes of Black people, but then when we begin to look at your track record, everything that you do from a tax standpoint, which when we hear about Amazon, things of that nature, and
Absolutely.
how they did not pay taxes,
$0.
Again, if people understand what that is, you have research and development. That's what they're getting paid for. So that's the tax break that they get,
valid
because
point.
we give you money because we expect that you're going to find new innovative ways to grow your company, and by doing so, it's going to create more jobs. So my issue with Black influencers and celebrities is, what are you doing with those tax breaks that we know that the motherfuckers getting? How many of you do you have an actual track record showing where you actually are employing people and
that's what
benefiting people?
Didn't we talk about that before? There was collectivism and whether you feel like as a celebrity you are obligated to give back or not.
You know what?
So
That's
that's
why.
a part of the
But see,
conversation.
that's me personally. That's why I said I try to stay consistent in my viewpoint in from every perspective, every direction. So I don't feel obligated that celebrities would be, if I don't feel that way, if I don't feel I should do that, I don't feel they
Well,
should
sit your
do
ass
that.
down.
I
Sit
don't.
your ass down.
What do you mean?
If you don't feel obligated to help your people, sit the fuck down.
No, I'm gonna keep making my money. That's
No,
what I'm gonna keep doing.
well, keep making
I'm
your
gonna
money.
keep making my money.
And sit the fuck down.
And don't say shit.
And don't say shit.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, that's
Let
how I feel.
someone who's more qualified to do it.
True.
I'm minding my business.
So
That's
T.I.
that's
sit
how
the
I
fuck
keep-
down. So
I was just about to say he been investing in opportunities.
oh God. But anyways, listen.
I was just about to say that.
But listen, it has been a fun conversation with Mr. Expression.
Yeah, it's been great.
Mr. Expression. But listen, tell the people where we can find you and what you have coming up.
Oh my goodness, Adrian! You can find me on everything at Adrian Xpression. That's Adrian, one word without the e in front of it. Just type in Adrian Xpression. I actually recently started the Expression podcast on Patreon.com/Adrian Xpression. So I'm excited about that. And I'm just keep on doing the same old, same old.
So we're gonna get the same classy reads and all that.
Of course, very classy. Not the 2013, 2012 reads I was doing. But
well, listen, we hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. It has been a blast.
It's been a
Yes.
Sitting
It's been
down
amazing.
with my two favorite peoples, depending on when you say it, and Adrian Xpression.
Yeah.
But listen, join in the conversation in the comments. And again, as always,
that like button.
I'm Christian. This is
Dalvo.
and this
I'm
is
Suave Q.
and we are again the host of Candid Culture. And as I always say, love you, mean it, bye.